Hey, hello lovely students. Only me, Charlotte here. Now I wanted to share the introduction to my drawing program with you. If you haven't done the drawing program, there's some really helpful ideas here which will assist you with your painting practice as well as any kind of drawing. In fact, as an artist, at whatever stage you are at, whether you're brand new to it or you've been doing it for quite a long time, the most important part of learning is learning what you're looking at. It's learning how to see, how to translate what you're seeing onto a canvas, onto a piece of paper. Now, I'm going to talk about realism in these sessions because when people come to my drawing classes and say to me, oh, I want to learn how to draw, I think most people understand that that describes a desire to be able to look at something, whether it's a photograph, whether you're sitting in a cafe and wanting to copy what you're looking at onto another piece of paper and make it look right to the extent that somebody else can then look at your drawing and see what it is. I think accuracy and realism are what most people are hoping for when they start a drawing class. And it might take a little bit longer than you're expecting or hoping because you really do need to change the way you see. But I'm going to give you some really easy tips to help you understand how to see. And with this course, I've never had anybody be able to leave the class not being able to draw. And you might be the one person saying, oh, there's always a first. I've heard that so many times. No, you can draw. You can draw very well, but you need to understand what it is you're looking at. And I'm going to help you with that. Now, I will talk a lot about light and shade and the jigsaw of light and shade, because these are key components to understanding drawing and what you're seeing. Now, from birth, you have learnt very quickly how to reach objects, how to pick up objects, distance, shape, size, and you don't understand this. You don't understand the process of that learning because the brain is such an amazing computer system. But you're learning very quickly about objects through the changes of light and shade that they have on them. And I'm going to demonstrate that to you now. We're just going to look at the door behind me. There's a reason for this relatively uninteresting backdrop. It serves a very good purpose. So if you were going to, I'm just going to come with you here to look up at the ceiling. Now, if you were going to draw the top of this door in the corner of this room, you would have lines which were here and down here. You'd have a line there, wouldn't you? You'd have a line here, lines there. Now, why would you have lines there? Because those are, of course, the changes in light and shade. Now, you might not have thought about it like that before, but they are. Every line you see, even the really thin one there, it's a change in light. It's a change of direction. It's a corner, and there's a tiny little gap in between the wall and the ceiling support. And you're seeing the shade that's in between those two surfaces. You're seeing this. You understand that that is a right-angled object because of the way that the light changes. You know that the ceiling is textured and that the wall is flat because the ceiling has a multitude of variations in light and shade, and the wall hardly has any, only one there, which is, if we look at it very closely, of course, it's a ridge, it's a change of direction. And it's the same with here, all the way around the corner of this door. You know that there's a corner there. You know that you can go up to this handle and you can open that door, that it's recessed into the wall. Now, you don't need to know that there's shadows there which are explaining this door jamb. You don't need to know that to be able to leave the room, to be able to survive and get out and to use the handle. You don't need to know those things just in your day-to-day life. But if you're drawing them, it really, really helps to understand that everything you see, everything you are able to draw is a subtle change in light and shade. Every line is actually a shadow. Just as I showed you in that up in that corner there, where you could see a dark line in between the ceiling and the ceiling strut, there's a very, very thin line, and that's because there's a shadow there. There's a little gap which was creating a shadow. So all of the lines that you're drawing with your pencil, with your charcoal, whatever it is you're using, they are all shadows. Okay, now what I'd love you to do is to have a little look around where you are now. Look into the corner of the room, all right? Or look at objects that are around you, because chances are you've got a light on and you will be able to see shadows around the objects. Maybe you've got a cup of tea, maybe even your hand that's holding the phone or the laptop. Have a look at everything around you and you'll start to notice changes of light. And I want you to start thinking, now if I was going to draw that with my pencil, what is it that I'm drawing? Okay, I'm actually drawing shadows. In the same way, in the same way that, I'm just going to put you down there so I can, sorry about that, put you down there so I can gesticulate as the way I normally do. Crumpled piece of paper, flat door. You know that because you can see that there aren't any changes of light on the flat door surface. So if you were drawing that, nothing really happening apart from when you get to the edges or the handle, because there's obviously shadows around the three-dimensional part of the door which is sticking out. Nothing going on the flat bit. Crumpled piece of paper. If you were going to draw this, if you're going to copy that and make it look like a crumpled piece of paper, you can tell it's crumpled without sitting here with me and touching it, because your brain, your eye, sees all of these shadows. So it can't be flat because the shadows are created by changes of direction. So if you were drawing this, all of these shadows you would be creating, if you copied that perfectly, anybody else looking at your drawing would understand immediately crumpled piece of paper as opposed to flat door. So what you're drawing is the complex or subtle jigsaw of light and shade. That is all it is. And isn't that exciting to think? The only difficulty which you might have is being able to see how that jigsaw fits together. But I'm going to show you some really, really good ways, some simple ways to be able to see the jigsaw of light and shade correctly, so you know how to copy it accurately onto another piece of paper. And some of the methods might surprise you, actually, and they're all going to be really easy. And the most important part of this as well is recognizing that although there are a number of different ways that we learn, I'm going to give you quite a few different options, and you can pick and choose from those options, from those ways of seeing, the ways that suit you. We don't all see in the same way, and you just find the way that works for you. There isn't one size fits all when it comes to art, and because you can't sit down straight away and draw a cafe scene perfectly while you're having your cappuccino in 10 minutes, doesn't mean that you're not an artist. It means that you haven't learnt yet how to translate what you're looking at onto a piece of paper or a canvas. And I'm going to help you with that translation process. But the most important thing to remember is that everything you see is a jigsaw of light and shade. Of course, if you're looking at things in colour, it can sometimes, and I imagine most of you are looking at things in colour, but it can feel a little bit more complex because the colour can get in the way. But it's just light and shade. It's just light and shade. And we're going to start with some simple exercises. Apples and pears we're going to start with, and we're going to start using charcoal straight away, which is a very, very good medium to learn, a simple medium to learn with. And don't worry, I'm going to give you some technical tips and little demonstrations all along the way. But for now, start looking around you, thinking about light and shade, and I promise you'll start to see things in a very different way. Okay, see you in a bit, and we're going to start on our first exercise and how to prepare the drawing. Okay, cheers!